little man from Vanderbilt University, Keyshawn Vaughn. They stole him in the 3rd round. He's got James White potential. This offense has firepower, and the GOAT is going to look a whole lot more like the GOAT this year now that he actually has some viable, credible weapons everywhere he turns. Shannon, you are in big trouble, as is my homeboy.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. Of the team that's in the top...
Idiot.
Murder. Most foul. Welcome to Most Foul TV. This is Most Foul TV with your host, Dante Penny.
Welcome to Most Foul TV, and this edition of Most Foul Chief. I am your host, Dante Pena, and are you fucking kidding me? So that bullshit that we just heard from Skip Bayless, did you see that? So that was from a First Take episode a couple of days ago, I think about a week ago, and they were talking about some magazine or online fucking ranking that's at the top 5, like the top 5 offenses, predicted top 5 offensives in the NFL next season, right? And Chiefs are number 1, and I think the Ravens were number 2. I think that the Cowboys at number 3, and some, I forget who the fuck was. I think it was Atlanta number 3, the Cowboys at number 4, and then Tampa Bay at number 5. And so that's what they were talking about. And Shannon made a point for us, like they shouldn't even be on the fucking list. He was like actually, legit. But I also don't believe in a lot of dumb shit that Shannon Sharp says because he also had the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl. So he jumped on the bandwagon a little late. And then, of course, Mr., I suck off everything Tom Brady does, Bayless, goes on to make stupid points about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a high-powered, like, you can go look at the clip, I forget what it is, but we don't want to play the whole damn thing, but at some point, he actually says that Tampa Bay is going to be more high-powered, or as high-powered offense as the Kansas City Chiefs, and that Mahomes needs to look out, that the Chiefs need to look out and be scared of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? Now, granted, I agree that they got better, kind of, I guess, in some aspects. They had turnover ratio for sure. But it's just fucking laughable. It's laughable that he thinks he got, because Gronk is there. And then there's rumors that, Julian Edelman or somebody's also going over there, fucking one of his receivers. I don't know. I don't know if that actually happened or that was just a rumor. But whatever, Gronk we know is going, right? So what? For how long? 4 games? 5 games before his brittle ass breaks down again and is on fucking injury? Who cares? You can't affect the game if you can't stay on the field. And everybody knows Gronk can't stay healthy, okay? Everybody calls it, wants to be known as the greatest tight end of all time. I'm sorry, man. You're like 3rd on the list because you're always injured. And you cannot be the best if you're not on the field, okay? Tony Gonzalez didn't get injured that much. Kelsey, sure as hell doesn't get injured that much, okay? And he's done great things. That's why he's the number 1 tight end in the NFL. I don't know if he's best tight end of all time. I still kind of have Tony Gonzalez up there, but yes, I'm biased because he was a goddamn Chief. But going back to my point here with that stupid ass nonsense, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Skip Bayless goes on to make all these points about all these, he's the great one and the GOAT and all this bullshit, right? Fine, he was. He has, the rings and all that, and that's great. But this isn't a fucking Lifetime Achievement Award. This is reality, and who's the number 1 offense and the best teams and the high-powered teams. I mean, you got everybody else ahead of them. Obviously, the Chiefs are number 1. You got the Ravens, the Niners. You got the Saints, the Packers if they're healthy, right? Aaron Rodgers can still do damage. The Texans, I mean, they're with Deshaun Watson. Now, they'd lost a huge weapon, but still, I'd put them in that category. I'd probably put them above Tampa Bay because I don't give a shit that you have Tom Brady and Gronk. So what? Like, again, and here's the biggest difference. Like, here's the thing that they didn't mention. Actually, Shannon did kind of mention it during that whole, it's like a 15-minute thing, so that's why, obviously, I wasn't going to play the whole thing. But at one point, he mentions what I was talking about. Like, they mentioned how he's an upgrade from, God damn it, Tampa Bay's last year's quarterback. I want to say Deshaun Watson, but obviously it's not Deshaun Watson. Jesus Christ. I'll remember in a second. The guy who threw like 30 touchdowns, but he also threw like freaking 30 interceptions. My mind's going blank here. I'm sorry. Now I got to look it up because I'm totally fucking trying to blank here. Give me a second. I know you guys are probably screaming at the Jameis Winston. Thank you. I know you're all screaming at the fucking screen like Jameis fucking Winston. Sorry. It's been a long day. Jameis Winston, right? The difference between Jameis Winston and like fucking obviously Tom Brady is besides the turnover ratio, like they said, he threw like for 4,000 yards last year, threw for a bunch of touchdowns, 32 touchdowns or whatever it was, but then he also happened to throw like 30 interceptions, which obviously is not good, or somewhere along those lines. I don't know if that's the exact number, but I know it's close. And the reason he got a lot of those yards is because he will throw deep. Like he'll say, fuck it, and he'll just chuck it. When have you seen Tom Brady chuck it that much? He's not going to, okay? He had a system in New England that allowed him to have a high QBR. He was a dink and duck quarterback. If you don't believe me, look it up, okay? The stats are there. I tell this to people all the time. If you put Alex Smith on the Patriots for that long, if he was with Bill Belichick for the same amount of time, you'd be talking about Alex Smith as the greatest quarterback of all time with 6 rings in that system. Because if you look at their gameplay, it's almost identical. The difference is Alex Smith never had a ring, so they called him the dink and dunk master and the game manager and all that bullshit. Guess what? So is Tom Brady. The difference is he was in a better system for longer, okay? When you got to see Alex Smith at his best is when he finally came to the Chiefs. He had a great coach and a great system that allowed him to use his ability to the best that it possibly could be. He didn't have 6, 7, 8 different fucking offensive coordinators and 5 million different head coaches and a carousel of players every season. Okay, he has stability, and then you finally got to see what he can do. But unfortunately for Alex Smith, it was too late because then we got Patrick Mahomes. So that's a whole different story. My point is, you look at the gameplay of Tom Brady and Alex Smith, and it's almost identical of how they play. They do these short passes, intermediate passes. They're very cerebral. They're very smart. They know how to dissect a defense. But the difference was, as Alex Smith never had Bill Belichick, he wasn't in the same system. He wasn't in the same team for 15 years. But you insert Alex Smith, and you're talking about the same goddamn thing. So my point now you can argue that when it came to the clutch gene, then yeah, Tom Brady probably had that killer instinct a lot more. He had that clutch gene probably more than Alex Smith, because that's where Alex Smith would probably stay in his lane and like, okay, maybe I'm not going to throw that. Even if the game was on the line, he'd kind of wait for it, and then sometimes he'd wait too long. Brady would say, fuck it, and just go for it, and he would carry his team out of fire a lot of times, even though 3 of his championships were won on the leg of a fucking kicker. Again, whole nother story. But I laughed at that argument with Skip Bayless is thinking, oh, Tom Brady's going to do this because Gronk and all these young players. Guess what? All those young players on Tampa Bay are expecting the deep ball, okay? They're used to Jameis Winston throwing bombs downfield and them running for it. You think old-ass Tom Brady's going to throw a bomb? When was the last time you saw him do it? And he mentioned it in that clip. You can watch it, on YouTube or whatever, where he said the last time he threw downfield was Randy Moss, 10, 12 years ago? Okay? So, he doesn't have a Randy Moss, and even if he did, he's not going to throw it downfield because he can't. Okay? The other difference is he's a fucking statue. Look what the Chiefs did to him last year. Look what every playoff team did to him the second half of last year. As soon as they broke containment or they broke the line, he would just crumble. I remember one play, he just gave up and said, fuck it, threw at the feet of one of his fucking players because he didn't want to get sacked. Jameis Winston would move around. Jameis Winston would try to run and keep the play. To a fault, he would run and try to make a play like Mahomes or whatever to some of these other quarterbacks. He just doesn't have that ability, that view, that sight to throw a good pass. He just freaks out and throws it anywhere and tries to make something happen and it gets intercepted. But he's mobile. He's an athletic quarterback. And again, so I don't think they boosted up their offensive line that much more, right? So if Winston has to run out of the pocket and kind of try to make things happen, the same thing's going to happen to Tom Brady. The difference is he ain't running anywhere. He's just going to crumble. And the more he crumbles, the more he's just going to not play. We've seen it. So it's fucking hilarious. I thought that was funny. That you're even going to try to have a conversation that Tampa Bay all of a sudden is in the elite list of offenses when it comes to Kansas City, when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Saints. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. So, sorry about that rant. I had to get that out of my chest. It was bugging me all week. It's just stupid. Now, Grant, I get it, though. I get it. They have a show to do, right? They need something to fucking talk about because football's over, but fuck you. So, talk about more dumb shit, and I'll talk about how it's dumb shit, right? So, let's get on to what today's episode actually is about. Actually, I do want to cover a couple of things. So, I got my little notes here, because I don't forget, because I'm scatterbrained. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Damian Williams getting robbed. That's fucked up, right? Like, I didn't hear too much about it, or read up about it too much. I mean, I did look at it, and I guess he was at a one of those, what do they call them? Bed and breakfast type shit, a fancy one. And like 5 dudes jumped into his, came into the place, like they broke in through the back, and they just robbed him. I mean, Jesus, I mean, that, like, how fucked up is that? Like, I mean, come on. Really? But it's, to me, like, again, I look at a lot of articles. I read a couple of them. It almost sounds like an inside job, because what they said, it was a fancy place, like a real nice fancy home, like bed and breakfast type thing that he rented. And then that night, like as soon as he checked in, like they said a few hours later, these dudes come in through the back or whatever and like surrounded his crew and robbed him. So that to me sounds like somebody knew, somebody maybe, whoever rented it tipped off their homies like, hey, yo, it's Super Bowl champion. Let's go rob these fools because they're from the NFL. So, that's fucked up. But just want to kind of touch on that again. I didn't look at a lot of it, so I don't know. But he's okay. No one was hurt. I mean, they got robbed. I'm sure it's annoying and kind of just a fucked up feeling when you get robbed. Like, it just sucks. You feel helpless and violated. It's fucking bullshit. But people are assholes, man. Not all of them, but some people are. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Rashad Breeland's arrest, right? I saw the video. And yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, everybody's like, oh, man, they cut him. And like, to a few Chiefs fans. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying everybody. But I think there's a bit of an overreaction. Like, I don't give a fuck. Are you kidding me? First of all, like yeah, he got arrested, whatever. He had weed on him, whatever. I don't care. He was talking to the cop. And you can argue all day long about how he should or shouldn't have acted. Now, one thing I know for sure is that cop pulling a gun on him like that, like right off the bat, that's fucking bullshit. Like, I don't care. Like, you're not in danger. And you sure as hell knew who he was. He told you who he was. That was the other thing in that video that they'll talk about. Like, he fucking told him who he was. So he knew who he was when they were arguing back and forth. And then he pulls a gun on him. Like, you're not in danger. Now, if you thought you were, you go back to your car, you call for backup, whatever. But, but now again, now he tried to jump in his car or whatever. But a guy jumping back into his car is not a signal for my life's in danger, especially when you know he's an NFL player. You're not like in fucking Compton or East LA where it's gang related incidences and you know that and this guy may be affiliated. Like, it's not that fucking situation. So don't try to paint me that. Okay. That's some bullshit. I grew up in East LA. There's a difference. Okay. So, again, the cop, I think at that point overreacted. But that's not to say that Breland wasn't being a dumbass to a point too. Like, just talk to the guy, whatever. What do you want? What the fuck, But he didn't, and he got busted. Whatever, he had weed and whatever the hell else or whatever they're accusing him of. But again, I don't fucking care. I don't care. He didn't beat anybody. He didn't physically attack anybody. He didn't beat his wife. He didn't, do a drive-by or was on like a crazy drug binge so I don't give a shit. He was smoking weed. He argued with a cop. The cop didn't like it. They went back and forth. I don't care. It's a non-issue to me. To me, it's not worth getting kicked off a team. It's not worth hell. To me, it's not even worth a suspension, but I know they are because they have to. Like, you broke the NFL's conduct policy or whatever, so fine. Suspend them for a game, little slap on the wrist, call it a day, let's all go home. Like, who cares? I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. It's weed. Get over it. Fuck. You people act like, not all of you, but some of you people act like, oh my God, he smoked weed. He needs to be a saint. Like, get over it. Get over it. Like, again, and he's putting gas. Like, why did the cop stop him? Like, now, I haven't seen the whole video. I don't know. Maybe if he ran a stop sign or something and then the cop pulled into the gas station to ask him, like, why did you blow the stop sign or something? I don't know. But to me, he looked like he was just putting gas, and then the cop walked up to him after the fact and then started arguing with them or whatever. So I don't know. Again, I haven't seen the whole video. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he was following him and he ran a red light or something, and then that gave him cause. I don't know. And if that's the case, then yeah, okay. So he pulled him over, talked to him. But that, again, so the fact is, again, you can argue all day long about who was wrong or right, but at the end of the day, I don't give a shit, because to me, the issue is not that big. What he got arrested for and got accused of is not that big of a deal to me. I don't care that he had weed. I don't care. Doesn't matter. So what? It's weed. Get over it. It's not hurting anybody. If anything, the new CBAs, if you guys have seen that stuff that just passed a week ago, actually lightened up the penalties for NFL players smoking weed to the point where they almost, like, they haven't said weed is okay, like it's legal in the NFL, but the new regulations basically allow it to not fucking matter. So give me 1 second, guys. My little punk ass dog wants to get in and he's annoying me, so let me let him in. Sorry, like I said, it's live, man. It's, well, live recording. I'll edit this later. Little punk ass dog. Always bugging. See, now he's just sitting there staring at me. All right. So moving on. That was the news, right? That was some of the news stuff that I wanted to go over. But the main topic of today's episode is the schedule. Well, let's talk about the schedule. Everybody's talking about the schedule and all that. So why not? Let's talk about the schedule and and who we got to face and all that. And I like it. Well, again, this is all providing we have a season this year, right? Like, and I am optimistic. I think we will. I think everything will get a little more normal by then. I'm sure it's not going to be 100% normal, but I think we'll be normal enough to have a season and have some games. I hope we'll have games with a crowd, because game 2 is right here in Los Angeles, and I sure as fuck want to go to that game. So hopefully things will be normal and the prices won't be outrageous, because right now they're talking about, prices are pretty outrageous. Like in the nosebleeds, I think right now they're on sale already, and there's something like $250, $300 for nose fucking bleed. You want middle section? It's like $400 or $500 already. Okay, that's insane. Last year they were barely like $200 for that same spot, like right in the middle, kind of mid-level, either 50-yard line or whatever. Even if it wasn't, but they were still at least a decent 200, 230, 250. That's not bad. But $500 for that same damn seat just a year later. I know we're the Super Bowl champs, but damn, So either way, we didn't get a damn $1 million bonus, fuckers. Why do we have to suffer? But whatever. So I mean, if it happens, it happens, and I'll do my best to go. So that we'll see. But let's get into it. So now, funny thing is, I'm looking at the season here. I was trying to put it on that, but it's too bright. The camera doesn't pick it up, and you just would have saw like a white screen. So I haven't figured out. I'll mess with this a little bit later to try to figure out the whole screen sharing thing. I'm still kind of learning that stuff. But let's see. So funny thing about the schedule, that the way they have it, they actually have it laid out now with only 3 preseason games, because they did say after the new CBA was signed that starting this new season, we're only going to do 3 preseason games. So that's interesting, right? Even though the funny thing is about that, though, is they said that the 17 week season wasn't going to start till like 2021 or 2022. So we're still only doing 16 games, but they're doing only the 3 preseason games this year, which is kind of odd, but whatever. No big deal. Just means the season starts, with less injury, so that's good. But so I'm gonna, guys, we'll talk about preseason. I'm not gonna give you a win-loss because I don't give a fuck. But we got the Bengals first, in preseason. Then we got the Cardinals second preseason game, and then the Packers. So that'll be interesting, cool. I doubt anybody will play that Packers game. None of the starters. So we won't see Aaron Rodgers versus Mahomes. At least I don't think so. And then unfortunately they don't play all season. So that kind of sucks. I wanted to see that. We got robbed of that last year. That would have been epic. That I think some of the, he's played Brady. I think he needs to play, and we're gonna play. Obviously we'll play Brady again. Let me see something here before. Yeah, see that they should have put the Packers on the schedule, on the regular season schedule, because that I think would have been the trifecta for Mahomes to be able to play Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees. I mean, like, I think he needs to knock all them off. Just, I mean, not that he has to prove anything because he's already proven it, but just because fuck it, why not? You know, like play, you know, get to say that you got to play against the 3 top guys. You know, so. But let's get into it. So see game 1, right? Week 1, we got the Texans. Is that at Chiefs? Let me see. Yeah, that's at Kansas City. So sorry about that, Houston. Now, hey, what happened on the picture? Punk ass. Hey, when it does that. Give me a second here. Now, originally, if you guys saw my last video, I did a little bit of a prediction where I said that, I thought the Chiefs will go like 14-2 and 13-3, depending on how the season goes and if they sit their last few starters at the end of the season. I'm actually now kind of thinking about it, and with the draft and the firepower and looking at the schedule, I think I'm changing my pick. I think, and for a couple of reasons. But I think we're going to go undefeated, which is a spoiler alert. Right, we're going to go with the thing, right? But so let's look at it. So Texans versus at Chiefs. I think we're going to win that. I think that's a win. I think Deshaun Watson, and especially because they lost their number 1 weapon with when they had their freaking number 1 wide receiver, they couldn't beat us. You know, I mean, yeah, they still got a lot of good players, but you trade your top weapon, and with D-Hop, like, now he's not there, and fucking you expect to beat the Chiefs? Like, come on, man. So I think that's a win, and unfortunately for Watson, he's going to lose another one to Mahomes. Then we got the Chargers. Are you kidding me? That's you know what? I don't have it. I was supposed to have a broom with me to show you the sweep of the AFC West. So obviously that's a win right there against the Chargers in week 2. We got the Ravens in week 3. That's a good one, right? Now, this was the game that I was going to say, like last week, that we would probably lose. I not because I don't have faith in the team, but the NFL is a very weird thing, and I felt that the Ravens are really, and it's so early in the season, they're really going to come out with it. The Chiefs are still going to be kind of doing what they do and kind of slow, kind of take a look at the landscape and see what everyone's doing and not throw their best punch. And then that game will like slip through their fingers, maybe 40-37 or something like that at the end. And the Ravens would pull one off and they'd get their first win against Mahomes. And I first thought that was what was going to happen. Now I don't. I don't think so. I think we're still going to beat them. I think Chiefs are going to go in there and whip their ass, and we're going to take that win. Then we got the Patriots with whatever random ass quarterback they have. So I don't give a shit. That's a win. And it's in Kansas City, right? Let me make sure. Yep, that's at Arrowhead. Yeah, that's a win, right? Who are you going with, right? Like some fucking random ass no name quarterback. You don't got. I'm sorry, Jimmy Garoppolo ain't there, Matt Castle ain't there, whatever other fucking quarterbacks you had before. They're not there. You have a whole season without Tom Brady, and then especially now, like with the way the preseason or the offseason is even going, it's another damn reason. Like every single team in the NFL is going to be at a disadvantage against the Chiefs for the simple fact that they have a bunch of new players. Most teams have a bunch of new players, the new rookies and all that they got to get used to. They got to get acclimated. I'd say the only ones that really don't have that issue is probably the Ravens, the Niners, right? That still have like some real solid continuity with their team. Maybe the Saints. I've been paying attention too much to what they're doing. But like us, we're bringing back 20 out of 22 starters, okay? There's not a lot of new shit they got to get used to. We have our new draft picks. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Clydesdale, who I talked about last episode. Yeah, they got to get it all acclimated to all that, but they don't need it. The nucleus and the main power of the team is all still there. So, again, I think like a team like the Patriots, new quarterback, like guy got a whole new system, and you don't have Tom Brady there to like lean on because he's injured and like you've been learning the same system or whatever. Like now you're the man. And you don't have fucking receivers. So that's the other thing. Like Brady couldn't do it last year with the so-called no weapons. Now you got some fucking no-name guy with no weapons. Come on, bro. So whatever. So that's a win. Where are we in? We're 1, 2, 3, 4. Week 5. Week 5 against the Raiders. Yeah. At Arrowhead. Sorry, car wreck. Sorry, Gruden. It's another loss. Get used to it. You should be by now. Then we got the Bills. Bills are good, right? New upcoming team. And it's in Buffalo. So that'll be interesting. Probably cold weather. We're used to it. But I think we'll take that one. I don't believe in, what's that quarterback's name? Fucking forgetting everybody's name today. I want to say Josh Rosen. I'm not fucking Josh Rosen. Whatever, you know his goddamn name. The goddamn Buffalo Bills quarterback. I don't remember his fucking name. Whatever. But yeah, he's good. He's a good quarterback. Can't remember his goddamn name. But I still don't think they're gonna win. They don't got enough. They don't got enough firepower. Then we got the Broncos at Denver, October 25th. Yeah, again, it's another win. We got the Jets, nice and cool. So you got it's a funny stretch there. You got the Ravens, going back real quick. You had that the Ravens, pretty tough game. Then we're gonna beat the shit out of the Patriots because they suck. And we got the Raiders, and again, it's like, do I want to be nice and like, oh, it's going to be a competition? No, I'm sorry. They haven't beaten the Chiefs in so damn long. And then the one game that they finally beat us like a year and a half ago or whatever it was, took them 6 chances to get 1 point at the end after the refs like helped them a million times. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not impressed. Right? Put a team together and then start competing and then I'll change my mind. But other than that, you're getting swept again. And so then you got the Bills. So you got 2 easy games in the Patriots and the Raiders. We got the Bills. That could be a tough game, a good defensive game, but I think we pull that off. Then you got another nice little rest. You got 2-game stretch where you're probably going to whip the shit out of both teams. You got the Broncos who are still in rebuild mode. They don't have a legitimate quarterback unless they do something drastic in the offseason and like steal, unless they go and sign Cam Newton or something like that or some other, viable quarterback. They got quarterback issues. I don't believe in their rookies. I don't believe in their young quarterback that they got. What was his name? Drew Lock. Yeah, I don't care. So not worried. We got the Jets. Sorry. Darnold, right? That's his name, right? Yeah. They have a whole lot of work to do. Then we got the Panthers. That's interesting, right? But again, no Cam Newton, right? I don't know. I forget who their new quarterback is. I'm not paying attention to them. But no Cam Newton. They're struggling, and that's an Arrowhead. That's a tough task for them. So we win that game. And you got the Raiders again, as I said, sweep. Then here's the game. Tom Brady, right? November 29th, Tom Brady versus, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Gronk. Ooh, fuck. You really got 2 guys. 2 guys against a shitty team, against a team that was still shitty last year. Okay, I'm sorry. They were. I don't care how, you were not Tom Brady 10 years ago, right? You're not even Tom Brady 5 years ago, right? And neither is Gronk. Even 5 years ago, Gronk was still getting broken down and only played a couple of games. So, I don't care. And you don't have your defense that you had last year. You don't got your that same system. It's going to be a disaster. Mahomes probably going to put up a 50 burger on him. I'll laugh. He's probably not going to play the whole game. So we take that game. Back, the Broncos are come back to Arrowhead. We play them December 6th. I think that's a win. Get a nice little break again with the Dolphins. Who knows who their quarterback is at that point, but again, I don't see them as a threat. Now here's a tough game. This will be a good one, providing everyone's healthy and Drew Brees is healthy. But the Saints on December 20th, that's going to be a hell of a game. That's what I'm looking forward to, right? Probably a shoot. I don't know. See, I want to say it's a shootout, but then I trust our defense. Our defense was kicking ass the last second half of the season. That's what people also don't understand. They also forget that from week 12, 13, when that defense kicked in, we were holding teams to 13 points, 17 points, 15 points. Like, you can't just put up points on the Chiefs anymore. And then when you do, like, now granted, the Niners did a good job, but they only did a good job for so long, and then they put a stop to it, right? When that team starts to fucking figure it out and get it together, like when they're firing on all cylinders, they shut down teams. And they're only going to get better now. Like, they've had a whole season to do that. Now, they're going to have another offseason, kind of a weird, wonky offseason, but it's the same group. So I expect them to be even better now that they know the system. They know what to do. It's going to be even better. And I love some of the new acquisitions on defense, some of those rookies that we got. That new linebacker, I forget it, the one they're comparing to Derek Johnson. That kid looks real good. So we got the Falcons. Looks like December 27th week, I guess week 15, right? Would that be week 15? Because we're not doing 17 yet. Again, I love the Falcons. They're like my second favorite team. I root for them. My nephew is a Falcons fan, so and Tony G went there. So I've always liked the Falcons. You got Matty Ice. You got a lot of cool, Julio Jones. Who doesn't like Julio Jones? You got a lot of great players over there. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with the Falcons over the last few years. Ever since they lost that Super Bowl, they just can't seem to put it together. So I'm sorry, Falcons, Atlanta fans, but I think we take that game too. And then we finish up the season with the punk-ass LA Chargers. And, yeah, again, sweep. Again, once again, we're sweeping the division and finishing up. And, yes, you heard me right, undefeated season. I think we go 16-0. I think with the defense that we have, that we currently have, and then they've gotten better. They've gotten more pieces. They added a strong middle linebacker. They added another ball hawk in the corner position. You got Breland coming back. You got Travarius Ward coming back, who's only getting better. We're gonna have Juan Thornhill coming back off of injury to be back there with the Honey Badger. Are you kidding me? Like, that's an amazing group. And then you still got behind them, you got Armani Watts, who did a hell of a job stepping up in the postseason when Juan Thornhill went down. So, again, great rotation of players. That defense is strong. I expect us to be a top 5 defense this year, all year long, now that they know what they're doing and they got it together. They understand their substitutions and all of that. No, again, all this is with the caveat that we stay healthy. Obviously, if we get major injuries, all that changes. Obviously, like it did last year, right? Mahomes got injured. Hill was injured for a bit. We kept having all these weird issues. We had a lot of offensive starters on the line fucking injured, and it took a while. And even on defense, a lot of guys were injured. It took a while. And then week 12 hit. We got the bye. A lot of dudes come back. Like, everybody got healthy at the right time, and then you started to see how strong that team was. So, if we avoid the injury bug, especially to a lot of the major starters, I think we will be a top 5 defense. Obviously, we know what the offense can do, and I don't think any of these teams can stand up with us like that. And so we go 16-0, and we go and we repeat. Once again, we repeat the Super Bowl. Now, here, I'm not just saying that because fuck yeah, 16-0. Here's the reason. Here's the main reason, besides what I just said about the defense and the offense and the team being solid and still most of the same guys coming back. Besides that stuff, Mahomes. The reason why, that kid is a very special player. I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I mentioned it in last week's video, but there's a reason why I compare him to Joe Montana, and I look at him as a Joe Montana-like player. As type of quarterback. And it's not just because of the comebacks, which is huge. I mean, he definitely has that comeback kid quality, right? And the star power and all that. There's two main reasons. The killer instinct. Like, the first main reason is when I was a kid and I saw Joe Montana, and I started watching football as a kid. Like, my parents were watching, my family was watching it, and then I started looking at it. But what caught my eye was the fact that this guy would be down 22-3. Right, or 21-3, 24-7, and it's late in the game. It's like the third, fourth quarter. And you're like, there's no way he's coming back. And all of a sudden, Joe Koo starts sitting back there, just starts picking defenses apart, and he just even keel. Just doesn't matter, doesn't care. In his mind, game's not over. There's still time on the clock. Game ain't over. Where are you going? It's like, I got this. And then you'd see him come back, and you're like, holy shit, who is this guy? Right? It's Joe Montana. That's Joe Cool. Like, you're like, wow. Like, it made you stare at the screen and just in amazement, like, how the hell can anybody do that? And that's what I fell in love with as a kid. Like, that's what it was. That magic, that like holy fuck moment that you saw from a player. That's Mahomes, right? Mahomes right now There are kids out there, there are young kids out there, 8 years old, 12 years old, 10 years old, that are last season and probably the season before are sitting there watching this guy play, doing all this crazy stuff. Like, what the hell just happened? They were losing. And I walked away for 5 minutes. I come back, and now they're destroying this team. What the hell just happened? Right? Then you start paying attention. You start seeing the no-look passes and the scrambling from one side of the field to the other and throw it across your body to a guy 30 yards there. You're like, what? How the hell did he do that? That amazement factor where you're like, you want to watch it next week to see what that guy does. That's Mahomes. That was Joe Montana. And that's why I say that, right? The other thing is because of the killer instinct. Montana had that killer instinct when he was mad, even though he never showed, even like you didn't see him anger, like scream at people, but you knew he was like, you knew when he started just carving people, he just had that laser focus, that tunnel vision, and would just absolutely dismantle teams. That's also Mahomes. Like, so year one was he needed to prove himself. His first year as a starter, right? He wanted to prove everybody that he wasn't this Texas Tech system quarterback that the air raid and all that. He's like, fuck you. I'm a legit quarterback and I want to show it to you. And what did he go do? 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, MVP of the season, was one play away from the Super Bowl, right? But it got denied, which I think that'd be a better story. I think having that fire, having to kind of earn it a little bit more, because, I mean, now that would have been amazing too, getting it in that first year. But then it's like how that temptation of what else do you got to prove you wanted in year one, right? I mean, yeah, it'd be great for the history books, but I want longevity. I want a lot of damn Super Bowls. I want him to beat Brady's record. Yeah, you heard me right. I want him to get 7 goddamn rings. And I think he will before this is all said and done if he stays healthy throughout his career. But there's that killer instinct. So I think that year one, he had something to prove. He had to prove that he was an air raid quarterback. He did. Now, year two, he's coming to year two as a starter. I mean, not year two in his career. Year two as a starter. Comes in, everybody knows who he is now. Everybody knows what he can do, but he didn't get that Super Bowl. He didn't get, like he said, he didn't get the Lamar Hunt trophy, and he didn't get the Lombardi trophy. And he wanted those two things to give to his owner and his owner's family and his head coach. And that was his goal, right? Check that off the list. He did that, right? So it's like, well, what now? Besides the obvious, we want to do it again. Run it back. Yes, the running back tour starts this year, obviously. But there has to be more motivation that, like, he in his mind is like, yeah, we're going to run it back. Yeah, I want that Super Bowl. But what else do I want? And I think the next thing he wants is to prove that they can go 16-0. Because I know he's not a dumb kid, right? Even though they say he's like, I don't listen to the outside noise and that's for the, real humble, and I love that about him. But they still hear it. They know what people are saying. And they know that the undefeated season talk has already begun, right? So I think in the back of his mind, he knows that, and he has that, and he's like, "Yeah, why not? Let's make history again. Or we made history last year, made history the year before that. Let's make history again. Let's win the Super Bowl, but let's go undefeated all season, break another record." I think in his mind, that's what in the back of his mind, those are the little things that he strives for. That kind of greatness. What can I do to break a record this year that's going to stamp my legacy? And I think if he does that, I mean, again, like, holy crap, what can't this kid do, right? So that's my prediction for the season. I think, again, there's so many advantages that the Chiefs have. The fact that they are coming back with so many starters that other teams are not going to have, and they're not going to have an off season. If there's any team that's built to not have an off season, it's us. Our offense is number one in the league. That defense coming in, I don't know where we finished. I think we finished like 13 or 12, maybe even top 10 by the end of the season. I don't remember. But I definitely think we have the potential to be a top 5. So you got a top 5 defense, the number 1 offense, and you got most of your players from that Super Bowl coming back. That's a lot for the NFL to deal with. So those are my thoughts on the season. And that concludes this episode of Most Foul Chief. Again, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, subscribe, hit a comment on the bottom if you want. If you think I'm wrong, if you think we're going to go 13-3 or 14-2, or if you're a fan of some other fucking team, you think we're going to go 0-16, comment that shit. I don't care. I'll argue with you all day long. Right? But cool. I'm done here, guys. You have a great day. And I'll see you guys next week and see what we got to talk about. Peace.